Hey guys, Megan here, and time for another book review. Today, I'm going to be talking about this. It is the 6th book in the Pendragon series by DJ MacHale, and it is called The Rivers of Zadaa. We are finally on Laura's home territory, which makes me very excited, because we've seen little bits and pieces of Zadaa in the other books, so it's made me want more of Zadaa, but it was not yet time. It is now time. So, the last book, shit was starting to get really real, and it continues to get really real in this. There are 2 tribes on Zadaa, 2 main tribes. There are all sorts of other desert tribes, but they aren't important. The 2 main tribes that we have to concern ourselves are the Arcader and the Batu. And I'm pretty sure I'm saying both those names wrong, so bear with me. The Arcader kind of live underground. They are a really techie tribe, and they control the underwater rivers of Zadaa. And the Batu are more warrior-based. They're more primitive. Laura is a member of the Batu tribe. And there is great tension between these 2 tribes. They both think each other is better. So there's that, and they're constantly worried about each other. Because the Arcader, they are basically controlling where the water of Zadaa goes. And since Zadaa is basically a giant desert, water is basically liquid gold. And since the Arcader are hardly warriors, like they do have guards and stuff, but they aren't like as good as the Batu. So they're afraid that the Batu are going to invade and annihilate them. So there's lots of tension. The fact that there's been a drought going on kind of makes that tension rise, like, quite a bit. So there's basically war on the horizon between the 2 tribes. Then there's Mark and Courtney. Courtney's basically gone into this depression after, like, a combination between what has happened on Elong, which is partially Mark and Courtney's fault, and just her everyday life. Her grades have plummeted, she's been there's all sorts of stuff going on in her life. And the combination of that and what happened on Elong has just made her spiral into a depression. In order to try and get herself back on track, she's decided to go to summer school in Massachusetts to try and, like, sort herself out and just get her head back on straight. But sadly, that leaves Mark dealing with all the Traveler stuff on his own. Because Courtney asked him not to tell her when the next journal was coming in that she is not ready to deal with that kind of stuff again. And she knows St. Dane is going to be coming to Second Earth any time now, because he's already made a visit there. And he knows who they are. So she's like, when he comes back, I want to be ready for him. I want to be, like, mentally ready. So to do that, I need to distance myself from the Traveler stuff for a while to get myself together again. Mark is respecting these wishes. So he's dealing with, like, all the journals of Zadaa on his own. So in this book, it's not long before Bobby and Laura run into St. Dane. He disguises himself as a warrior of the Batu tribe and kind of kicks Bobby's ass, like, to the point where he's almost dead. And since Bobby looks like a Arcader, no one really steps in to help him. Until, like, the prince of the royal family, who is big on peace. He wants peace between the Batu and Arcader again. And the fact that he's seeing his people beat up a Arcader, he's like, no, this will not do. So he steps in and basically saves Bobby's life. So I'm going to stop my synopsis here and gonna do my spoiler time now. So if you do not want spoilers, click away now and go read the book. So I'm just gonna focus on Mark and Courtney for a second here. While Courtney's away, you know, getting herself back together again, Mark actually hangs out with Annie Mitchell, which is a huge shock, and he never thought would happen in a million years because they used to hate each other. But they've slowly started to, like, get some kind of crude friendship going on there because they are both really smart. So the 2 of them start to have a very rough friendship forming. Courtney is off at her summer camp, at her summer school, and she meets a guy. And named Whitney, and she's really liking Whitney. So she's, hanging out with Whitney a bit, and he invites her out to go have pizza, and she gets hit by a car on her way to the pizza place because she had class and couldn't go with him right away. And it turns out Whitney is freaking St. Dane. Holy crap, I actually did not see that one coming. So Courtney is like dying. She manages to get a message to Mark, and him and Andy Mitchell manage to drive to Massachusetts, and after a little investigating, find her on the side of the road, and holy crap. Okay, I'm gonna go back to Bobby now. Unfortunately, that prince guy I mentioned before, he is assassinated by a really loony Mercator. Any voice of reason that the two have is gone. The fact that one of their royals was assassinated, it was the straw that broke the camel's back. They are going to war. Oh, and just backtracking a bit, Bobby, he had Laura and Alder teach him how to fight, because, he just had his ass handed to him by St. Dane, and he doesn't want that to happen again. He wants to be able to defend himself. He doesn't want to go off to beat people up for the sake of beating people up. He wants to be able to defend himself and those he cares about if he has to. So after a few other little events, Bobby and Laura go underground to try and go to the Mercator city. The Mercator called all of their people to their main city for reasons unknown yet. So Bobby and Laura, after going through all sorts of booby traps, managed to get there. And what do they find? An underground ocean. So the Mercator have been holding back water. That is looking very bad for the Mercator. So they managed to find the Mercator city, and lo and behold, St. Dane is there. Now, usually St. Dane has some sort of disguise when he tries to manipulate the territories. Not so much here. He wanted to try and show the travelers, yeah, I don't need to have a disguise to trick these guys. So he wanted to prove to them that he could make a territory topple without resorting to trickery and disguises. We find out things haven't been all good with the Mercator. They claim to have been some Mercator friends of Laura who have been exchanging information with her, updates, have claimed that their people were starving. Their people weren't starving. Their people were dying. There was this huge plague going on that wiped out all but a few thousand Mercator. And St. Dane managed to trick the Mercator elite leaders that the only way for them to survive was to wipe out the Batu. So basically, when the Batu warriors come down into the tunnels to invade the city for revenge, they're going to use the underground ocean that they have there to drown them all. And that's not all. With almost all the warriors wiped out, not only is that basically almost annihilating a whole tribe, that's weakening the above ground so that the cannibals of the tribes of Zadaa could basically come on in and wipe everyone else out. And once they're done with the remaining Batu, they'll come back down into the underground and finish off the Mercator. All the technology and all the knowledge of the two tribes would be gone, and Zadaa would just be a mess of chaos. So that's what the travelers now have to prevent. By some wonderful, wonderful miracle, Bobby, Laura, and Alder managed to save the territory. I'm not going to go into the details because I'm not going to give all sorts of spoilers, mind you. So, as this huge battle is going on, Bobby is worried about something St. Dane has said about Courtney. So his plan would be to go back to Second Earth to check up on them. But St. Dane comes through the flume with a sword, and he's in a rage. St. Dane is slowly going insane, guys. He is not taking all these losses well. This is the 5th territory that he has lost. Meanwhile, he only won Milok so far. So, as he's going crazy wielding the sword, he kills Laura. And Bobby's freaking out because, oh no, he lost another traveler. And he was growing really close to Laura, like he was having romantic feelings towards her, and this is like a huge deal for him. But we find out Bobby can heal. Not only heal, but he can bring back other travelers. So we find out, okay, so I guess us other travelers can bring back other travelers if we are near them when they die. Moments after this happens, St. Dane sends back a nice little present for Bobby. And basically he finds out where he has to go next. And I'm gonna totally butcher this name of the territory, but I believe it's pronounced Quillian? Quillian? I think that's right, or close enough. So that's where he's heading to next. Now, to switch back to Mark and Courtney, I didn't want to give this spoiler until the end, because I did not expect this. I was like, totally shocked when I read this. I'm sure there were probably little bits of foreshadowing in the other books, but I was like totally shocked by this. Now, Courtney, from her little accidents, being pretty much run over and thrown off the side of the road, is in seriously critical condition. She's not looking too good. Her chances of survival are slim. But, you know, at the very end, she has this little visitor, and he heals her. So my first thought is, holy shit, it's St. Dane posing as Whitney. He, for some reason, is healing Courtney despite the fact that he almost killed her. And then at the very end, we find out that the guy who healed her is Andy frickin' Mitchell. Andy frickin' Mitchell is St. Dane. Mind blown. So now I'm just like freaking out here because now it's like, holy shit, Andy Mitchell has been in Mark, Courtney, and Bobby's lives since they were kids. Meaning St. Dane has been fucking with their lives since they were kids. So, holy shit, he's obviously got something planned involving Mark and Courtney with the Second Earth turning point. Now I'm just like freaking out beyond all belief. That is like one of the best plot twists I have read in this book so far. So on that very exciting note, I am going to end this book review now. I still highly recommend the Pendragon series. It's fantastic, it's wonderful, and I am loving it. That is it for this book review, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!